Welcome to my preview of the Military Bowl. It's going to be 6-6 Boston College versus 7-5 East Carolina on Monday, December 27th at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Boston College favored by 3 points, given a 56.5% chance of winning. This is the first ever meeting between these two programs, first ever meeting in the series. That's a trend for bowl season, and I cannot tell you how many times I've said that so far going through these bowl game matchups. Sidetrack here real quick. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'm previewing every single bowl game in college football this season. So it's a big task. I'm working my way through it, but make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of those. Record review here. Boston College actually getting exactly what I thought they would. 6-6 is what I said, and that's what they ended up with. Athlon Sports was a little more favorable, a little bit of a more favorable view on Boston College here, and with 7-5 is what was projected for them. Obviously ending up with 6-6. For East Carolina, different story. I did not see this team getting bowl eligible. They did not have a great year last year. They really didn't have that great year before that. East Carolina, a team that has really been struggling to get off the ground, kind of found themselves as one of the bottom teams in, really found themselves one of the bottom teams in the AAC here. So a 3-6 record last year, a 4-8 record the year before that, and I'm pretty sure they weren't bowl eligible the season before that as well. I don't have it written down here. But I was projecting 3-9 this season. I really did. I didn't think that we were going to see happen was going to end up with a winning season, let alone a bowl eligible season here for East Carolina. So 5-7 is what Athlon Sports was saying. They also didn't think they'd get bowl eligible, but the Pirates here have been able to come in, have a season and a down year for the AAC, take advantage of that, and get to bowl eligibility. So for Boston College, their worst loss, they start off the season 4-0. They started off the season 4-0 before taking 4 losses in a row, including probably, in my opinion, the worst loss in that was a 21-6 loss to Syracuse. So they started off 4-0, and then they lost 4 games in a row. Looked like they might not even get to bowl eligibility. And then they managed to pull it out, managed to win, 2 out of the last 4 to get to bowl eligibility, just barely. And their best win along the way was a 41-34 win against Missouri in overtime. A good Missouri, well, not a good necessarily Missouri team, but a 6-6 Missouri team that ended up in bowl eligibility. So East Carolina, a little bit of a different story along their record here. Kind of just been not really up and down record overall. Just really kind of losing some of those games that you would expect, I think, for them to lose, and winning the games that you wouldn't expect for them to win. They've really exceeded expectations. Their worst loss along the way, I'd probably call it South Carolina. Not a good South Carolina team. SEC South Carolina team that managed to play decently well throughout the season, but a South Carolina team that they lost to just barely. It was more the fact that it was so close that they could have won that game that it's a bad loss for me. A 20-17 loss, ended up just a field goal away from being able to beat the Gamecocks there. Best win, not a lot of marquee wins. That South Carolina game would have been a marquee win if they could have pulled it off, but not a lot of marquee wins. But they did beat Marshall. Down year for the Thundering Herd. I believe they ended up 7-5, but they were able to win that game 42-38 against a Marshall team that is always competitive, always brings their A game. Never count them out. So that's going to be probably for me their best win along the way here. For top players for Boston College, it's going to be their running back. Pat, and I'm going to mispronounce his name here, but I think it's Garwo, Garwo the third. Pat Garwo the third. With both quarterbacks really not having great years, both of them under 55% on completion percentage. He's been kind of the main guy helping keep this team consistent. 1,045 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns. For East Carolina, it's their quarterback. He's been their key to success. A dual threat guy, Holton Ahleer. Holton Ahleer. Just call him Holton. I can pronounce that name. We'll start with that. If you watch any of my videos, name pronunciation is not my strong point. We could probably do a blooper reel with all the mispronunciations on it. Anyhow, 3,126 yards passing, 18 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He also has 204 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns along the way. So the keys to the game here for Boston College, my key for them is avoid the air attack. Try and keep the game on the ground. They've thrown 11 interceptions this season, and East Carolina has actually been a good turnover machine. They forced 15 interceptions this year. So you want to keep the game out of the air if you can. If you can get that running game established, if you're finding success, lean hard into it. Don't go all running plays. I'm not saying that. The air game has to be part of it, but use the aerial attack to set up the run versus vice versa. For East Carolina, plain and simple, you take Garwo away, Boston College is going to lose this game because their quarterbacks are not competent enough. Both sub 55% completion rating. That's usually something you only see out of like an academy team that just has like an occasional bomb it up, get a chance out there, pass. I think the Air Force quarterback, he has like a 45% completion rating as a reference point there. So if you can take the running back away here, Boston College is one of the worst passing teams as far as completion percentage in the country, as far as teams that actually throw the ball. And so if you take Garwo away, they are going to, or Holton, that's the name I said I could pronounce. If you take Holton away, they're going to have a very, very tough time getting anything done on offense, at least consistently. So my prediction on this one, Boston College does expose some weaknesses here for ECU. East Carolina, they've had some good wins along the way, but it's also been a pretty easy schedule. So they've won some games that you didn't expect them to. We did expect them to get to 3-9 here, but their run defense here for East Carolina is not great. And East Carolina, they've played in the AAC, which has really had a down year overall. It really has. AAC overall has lost its footing, at least for this season, as the top conference in the Group of Five. And I think East Carolina has gotten to this 7-5 record because of some of those wins against teams that were not necessarily playing at their peak performance. So it's still good to get to bowl eligibility, but I think that East Carolina is a little worse than this record overall. And South Carolina, that's a game that they should have been able to win, and South Carolina, a team that they ended up losing to, was not a good team this year. Really no premier wins here for East Carolina besides that win against Marshall. I think that Boston College, they play well in bowl season. They really do. They've beaten Boise State in the past back in 2005. And I think that Boston College is able to get to a win in this one. I wrote cruise to victory. I'm not gonna. I didn't mean I'm gonna change that necessarily cruise to victory. But I think that they're going to have the lead throughout this one, and they're going to be able to sustain that to get to a victory in this one. So I think it'll be a little bit closer, tough-fought matchup. I think that Holton here is going to be able to. I realized I mixed that up earlier. The running back for Boston College, his first name is Pat, not Holton. I don't know why I said that. Anyhow, the running back for Boston College, I think, is going to have a good game against this East Carolina defense, and I think that Holton is going to make a few mistakes against this ACC defense in Boston College that's been competent at times throughout the year. So I think that East Carolina is going to end up losing this one, a tough one for the ACC to lose to a 6-6 Boston College. I'm going to go slightly over on the over-under. Thank you for watching this video. I'm previewing every single bowl game this season. Make sure you like and subscribe, and as always, go Big Blue.